Hey YouTube, it's your boy Widgie here, coming at you with some more Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition, and today is the day the African DLC is finally here and it's hit, and I'm going to be giving you some juicy content on the Hausa and the Ethiopians as we go on. But today we're going to be running through the latest patch or update, which will also show tons of changes for the existing civilizations. So we're not going to run through the Ethiopians and the Hausa and what they do and everything like that in this video. We're just going to look at the patches, hot fixes and everything that exist for the original civilizations. So without further ado, let's go through this and let's have a look. So of course we've got the African royals is here, the Ethiopians and the Hausa of course, showing the influence mechanic and the new battles that we get. 3 new historical battles, 15 maps, which is absolutely awesome, and 5 new indigenous African civs to ally with, which is absolutely amazing. And hopefully we'll start to see some more play with the native TPs. We don't see a huge amount of involvement currently in the meta, so hopefully with these new TPs, these native TPs, we'll be able to introduce a little bit more there. So very interesting. Okay, so obviously they mentioned about crash fixes and everything, so let's have a look. So build spotlight, 2 new civilizations. We're just going to skip past those 2 as I mentioned, and let's have a look. Got some nice new wallpapers that you guys can use. Fixes for community reported issues. This is quite nice that they're actually sort of taking on board what everybody's saying. So let's have a quick look through them. So potential fix for the game getting stuck at the launching screen. I never had that issue myself. Oh wait, no, I actually did. And then I had to escape and then restart the game. So I have had that issue before, so that's nice. Fixed a crash that could occur in the last Indian campaign mission. Okay. Addressed an issue where some pieces of upgraded Aztec walls were not being built. It is now possible to set a different home city drop-off location for economic and military shipments. So this is really, really nice. So you do originally have one. It was like at the bottom right of the mini-map, there was a little like sword and shield icon, and that could be your military garrison point. So I think what they've done is they've sort of moved that button and essentially made an economic and military shipment point, which is really, really nice because it can be so annoying when you get like some sort of like TC wagon or you get like a fort wagon and it will go off somewhere and you'll have no idea where it's gone and you'll completely forget about it, and it can be such a crucial thing for the game. So I really like that shipment. That's a great addition there. Fixed an issue where exploring villagers were ignoring building a trading post if it was part of a shift click. That's really, really, really good. I had lots of issues with units dancing around, not actually building the TP, so that's nice. Fixed an issue where the one-time USA minute company's card was being incorrectly reset when advancing into the Imperial Age. Okay. Fixed an issue or an error, in the German tech tree for the Imperial Chapka. There it is. Okay. Updated the Sepoys unit description. Return the full screen option back to its former functionality prior to the last patch. Okay, not too sure what that entails, but we'll have a look. USA Saloon refreshing beverages technology now affects all outlaws as intended. Fixed a rendering issue with shadows where they could not display as rows of lines on certain graphics cards. Okay, so hopefully that might be affecting people with lower end graphics cards, so hopefully that's good. A good change. Enabled changing randomness in mods, so they no longer prevent you from joining multiplayer games with players who do not have that change. I don't even know what that mod is. Slow motion routines now properly affects the monk after sending the walk the rice paper card. Okay, I'm not entirely sure what that is. Swedish priests are no longer missing audio when being selected. Very, very good. Not that a lot of people are going to be playing the Swedes. I'm sure we'll find that out very shortly. Fix an issue with obscured unit alpha. Not displaying correctly if shadows were disabled. Okay, yeah, that's quite a prominent issue. So I'm glad that's actually been sorted. Moving on now to the game. So stability and performance. Additional protections and login to better prevent the D3D11 crash seen by some players. I haven't had that crash myself, but there have been quite a few crashes still happening, but not anywhere near the level of when it first came out. Fixed an issue where the game could possibly soft lock during startup if a user's key profile contained invalid hotkey mappings. Interesting. Never had that issue. Graphics. Villagers at the Tribal Marketplace and Community Plaza now play more appropriate animations. That's really good. I'll be really interested to see what that looks like, because a lot of people were complaining about the Community Plaza in general, that you don't know if they're actually tasked to the Community Plaza or not. Now the Community Plaza before was the fire pit in the legacy version, and then they changed it to the Community Plaza. The only issue with it is that you'd see villagers sort of walking around in it, but some of them would just stop walking, so you would never really know if they were actually tasked to it. So I like this. I'm really interested to see what the new animations are going to be for that. Tribal Marketplace, yeah, I mean, that was a bit weird. So hopefully they'll change that. The tribal market original animation was the same as the berry bush. So when you're collecting from like a berry bush, which is kind of weird because you should be mining. So it'd be interesting to see what that animation looks like. That's good. Fixed an issue that caused the animations not to play when constructing a mine from a prospector wagon. I think I remember actually seeing that issue before. You just didn't really see it. That was kind of odd, so hopefully that's good as well. Fixed an issue with the shadow rendering on cliffs, resulting in some areas looking jagged. Yeah, I remember seeing that on some maps as well that were in the old map pool, so hopefully that's good. They've changed that. Moving on now, this is a little bit more interesting. Looking at the UI, so fixed the claim weekly profile image pop-up constantly reappearing whenever you return to the main menu. Yeah, I remember that being there annoyingly, and I don't know why it like never went away when I actually claimed it, so that's good. Good change. Trading post buttons now correctly display a black overlay rather than a red overlay when the command is not available. Nice, I like that. Fixed an issue where fattened herdables would not show the correct amount in their resource bars when harvested. Okay, never really noticed that. Probably, you know, I'm not too observant when I'm in the middle of it. Added a panel that appears when searching for a ranked match, which shows players their ranking and match stats if they are ranked, or how many matches they need to play to be ranked. Interested. So it adds a panel that appears when searching for a ranked match. Oh right, okay. Because when you're searching, you can't actually look at your ranks and stuff like that. You have to quit, so you can still see it. Is that what that means? Okay, interesting. Have to have a look at that. Adding more information about a player's ranking and other match stats on the post-game screen. That's really good, because the annoying thing is when you finished a ranked game, you'd have to go out of it, then you'd have to wait for the last played or recently played list to update, and then you could try and find your opponent and look at his profile to see what he was. So it's really good. I'm hoping this works and there's no issues with it. I'm hoping that really works. Adding more information about players' ranking, I just read that. Disable tooltip services for multiplayer browse game menu on list box items. Okay, not too sure what that is. Fixed long username text in SP skirmishes and in single player skirmishes and multiplayer, which now displays text trimming effect. That's good. That's very, very good. I like that. Fixed long name username text for post game screen score panel. So hopefully, I think that means that if it goes too long, does it all go to hashtags? I know that they still have issues with people's names going like to all hashtags and stuff like that. So hopefully that's a little bit nicer, and that will clear that error issue up. Fixed incorrect use of string ID for find healer. Okay, fixed text trunking for hotkeys. Fixed Imperial Men of War. Tech listed. Just having a quick flick through these, see if there's anything that's crazy that jumps out to me. Fixed game room text failing. Increased readability for card buttons. Nice. Added scroll viewers. Fixed expand button displaying wrong color variant for the command panel. Fixed expand button, fixed wonder, overlapping, fixed an issue where HP bars would sometimes display extremely large, never had that issue. Fixed an issue with the camera when zoomed in and selecting the ability, the camera would not correctly move to the unit. Oh, interesting. Never had that issue myself. Fixed an issue when the camera ultimately, fixed an issue, spyglass police now probably renders. Okay, fixing the unit stats, fixing correct textures. Okay, so nothing much there that really affects myself, but as I say, have a quick look through that. Maybe some of those issues you had in the past, and hopefully they've been sorted. Moving on to the gameplay. So it's a little bit more involved now. General, improved attack move behavior. Here we go, ladies and gents. This is a huge one. Now, for some reason in the past, they sort of said that they were working on it, and then it sort of dropped off in the last couple of updates. And I thought they'd completely just done away with it and they're not dealing with it. However, this is great to see. Improved attack move behavior. So let's have a look at this. Units moving an attack move were not re-evaluating their enemy targets under some circumstances. Fixed so that they now do this at least every 2 seconds. Awesome. Increase the range to enemy targets at which attack moving units would break formation and attack from 20 distance units to 30 now. That's really, really good, because I feel like you had issues with the units when they were at a certain distance away. They wouldn't obviously be able to lock on to the units and start attacking, so that's quite good. Fixed an issue where attack moving units that defeated an explorer or saw them get defeated would then stand around near the explorer instead of continuing the move attack. Now I think this is also, there is an issue when you still have the explorer selected as well, so I'm not too sure if that's going to deal with this issue, but I've had that issue a lot when the units just do not listen to me, and it's usually because there is an explorer involved. So I'm hoping that this will deal with that issue. I'm really looking forward to that. Fixed an issue where military units would not attack enemies if an alt attack move command was issued by clicking on a natural resource such as mine or huntable. I've never used the alt attack move, so I'm hoping for anyone out there who does use that, hopefully that will help. So that's very, very good news. Moving on to some fixes then for the gameplay. Fix the mortars not attacking targets when ordered to attack move along with other units. So that might be quite good. If you attack move with a mortar, it should now start attacking the buildings correctly. Nice. Fix an issue where rickshaws and travois could not build trading posts. Another absolute banger here. This is the main one like I have an issue with, especially for the Haudenosaunee, and also the Inca. Really rely on those travois, and it used to really annoy me that they wouldn't work, especially also if you were playing the US and you went for the Chinese immigrants, and you had 3 rickshaws and everything, you had to try and send TPs and you have issues. So I really like the look of this. Hopefully that's fixed that. Fixed an issue where villagers or the explorer would not work on a building trading post when additional commands were queued after the build command. Nice. That's also another great fix there. Fixed an issue where the White House cards were not displaying for the United States civilization. Okay, not too sure about that one, but awesome. Fixed an issue with the Hausa tech tree to properly show the raider instead of the incorrect Shotul warrior. Okay. Fixed an issue that prevented the Asian civs from training African outlaws from the monastery. Okay. Awesome. Here we go, guys. The bread and butter of it. Everybody wants to see this. It is the civ balances. And as you know, I've released a couple of videos beforehand trying to figure out what's going to happen. And there was some beta testing done to see what potential things would change. So let's see if anything's changed or if there's any new things that are completely crazy. Let's do it. Units and buildings, general. Monitor in the Ironclad. Long range attack ability now inflicts 0.5% damage to artillery. Okay. Very interesting. That's quite big. Militiamen, irregular sentry, and warriors, all attacks except siege now inflict a 0.25% damage to villagers. Right, okay, that's interesting. So they won't be able to harass villagers that much. Okay, interesting. Oh, this is good. The church here, this is especially good for the Ottomans. So when there's like a no TP map for Ottomans, they have to resort to obviously just the church or the mosque trickle. So this has now been increased from 0.6 to 0.7. Really, really nice. And I think we already knew that was going to be happening. So that's awesome to see. That is about a 13-14% increase from 0.6 to 0.7. So quite significant there. Makes the Ottos a little bit stronger. Peruvian Legion. Now this is the OP revolution here, isn't it? Where you have those grenadiers that just throw and can basically just seem to counter everything. Absolutely insane. So let's have a look at this. Grenade attack damage is now reduced by 2. Okay, that's quite significant. That's a 10% reduction there in damage. Grenade siege attack is now decreased by 10. Oh my god, that's big. The siege attack. Look at that. 39 to 29. Wow. That is like a third. That's got to be, right? Yeah. That's no, about a quarter. At least a quarter. 25% reduction there. 39 to 29. Ouch. Grenade attack range is now decreased as well because that was kind of crazy. So that's been reduced by about 12-13% reduction there as well. So big sort of nerf here for the Peruvian Revolution. And I think that was mainly that the ports did that revolution, I believe. But correct me if I'm wrong. Town Centre. Build XP bounty is now reduced by 50. The Lakota Town Centre adjusted accordingly. Kill XP bounties reduced to 100 and only 80 for Lakota. Because of obviously Lakota have increased siege, they have the siege dance and their cav is has very, very high siege. So obviously it makes sense to maybe reduce it a little bit for Lakota there. A little bit of a nerf there for Lakota. The build XP as well. From 100 to 50. Damn, that's going to be an impact for the Portuguese, isn't it? Because obviously they get TCs every age up, so that's going to be an impact to ports. Dock garrison attack damage is reduced by 5. Also corrected the obstruction radius from 5.5 to 3.5. Oh, right, okay, I see. Yeah, that obstruction radius was so annoying. The hitbox should now match the model without making placement harder. Yeah, I forever have such a struggle trying to place a dock. So I'm hoping now that they've done that, that should help, be able to place a dock quickly. But the garrison attack damage has now been reduced. So once again, if you're playing on sea and stuff like that and you want to mess around and try and garrison your ships into the dock, it's not going to have as much of an impact. So you may need to build some outposts or some TCs to defend the shoreline. The galleon cost improved by 100 coin. Okay. I think it means it's been reduced. Yeah, improved, but yeah, reduced. Okay, that's quite significant. Yeah, that is a 20% reduction there. Wow. Tribal marketplace no longer affected by an enemy's first town center construction restriction radius. Interesting. I'm not too sure what that actually means. That might affect me because I play the Howd quite a bit. Okay, the Grenadario or the Grenadiero. Yeah, the Grenadiero. I think these are the guys that are on horseback and they throw the grenades. It's absolutely stupid. So the Argentine, yeah, that's it. The Argentinian Revolution can no longer be converted by units with the conversion ability. Okay, interesting. The hot air balloon and advanced hot air balloon ranged armor reduced by 0.1 to from 0.5 to 0.4, so by 10%. Now it's a light cavalry tag, so they can be countered by skirmishers and foot archers. Interesting. I never see the hot air balloon, to be honest. Never see that in the games that I play. All revolutionary outlaws now probably have the abstract outlaw tag, fixing an issue where some of them wouldn't benefit from the Wild West and atonement upgrades. Okay. Outpost wagon. Construction builders trained on the battlefield, e.g. from the US state capital, now takes 25 seconds longer to construct the outposts. Whoa, okay, yeah, this might be needed, because what the states could do is they could keep pumping out these outposts, and then what they do is they build these outposts and then they can levy like militiamen or marines from them, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's one of the plays that they could do. They could sort of turtle and just keep sending out all these outposts everywhere. So that's really good to see that the construction now is going to take double the amount of time. That is huge. So that's going to switch up a little bit there for the US. The covered wagon minimap icon update for better visibility. Okay, that's nice. Yeah, I think they've changed some of the icons actually on the maps, on the mini maps. I think forts are like an X now, potentially. Treasure looting animations enforced 3.33 seconds as the animation duration for all Civ heroes when looting a treasure. Some explorers could be a frame faster or slower. Very, very good. Upgrades. Incan metalworking. Tech available Incan legacy minor native settlement now properly improves all mine gathering rates by 20%. Oh, that's quite big. Very, 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 very big. Looking at a few cards here. The Town Militia. This is the one that I mentioned in the previous video. Has now been reduced from 15 to 12. Obviously, we know that's going to be a huge nerf to the Portuguese in particular. And we move on to the enlist irregulars. Abilities now levy one fewer irregular in Sentry. That is not so good for the Asian civs, I believe. The schooners, as I mentioned before, fishing boat time improvement is now reduced by 25%. Ouch. This results in a 2.5 second training time overall. So it's going to take 2.5 seconds longer to get that fishing boat, because schooners is not as good. I think it's still going to be a viable card for a boom. I think there's no way of avoiding that. I just think, is booming going to be as viable now? I'm not too sure. The whale oil now improves whale gather rate by 17%. From 35 down to 30%. Wow. Okay, so this is a big. Well, I didn't know about this one. Once again, for any sort of water booming civs, I mean, I'm mainly talking about the Portuguese here. That is going to be another impact as well. I think you've got Germany as well, quite good on the water. You also have Inca are good on the water as well, but the main one is going to be the Portuguese, and that is going to be another hit to them, which is rough. Moving on to the individual civs now. This is where we get into more juicy bits. So the Chinese. So, Temple of Haven fixed an issue with the Transcendence ability that would make some units essentially invisible for a short duration. Okay, never experienced that. I don't think I rarely built that wonder anyway. Upgrades, stun ability, cooldown increased by 10 seconds. Right, okay. Wow. So this is with your monk, isn't it? Your monk can do that stun ability that can be really, really good. That is, yeah, that's quite a hefty impact there. I mean, at least it's just the stun ability and it's not the crit, because obviously the crit is based on, you know, a percentage chance of happening. So a stun ability, yeah, that's a little bit of a nerf there for China, I guess, a very small one. The Northern Refugees now properly respects the villager build limit. This could be a bit of an impact to China. I don't know how much though, because I rarely just go for the Northern Refugees. I rarely do use the Western Refugees. I know that a lot of people do. I mean, the Great Migration, I'm not too sure if anybody actually uses that one. I mean, maybe on Treaty, I'm not entirely sure. But, okay, I don't know how much of an impact that's going to have. I can't really remember if it does impact me that much. Probably not, because I build the village and then I go ahead and get them out, and it doesn't really... Yeah, I don't think that's going to have a huge impact for me personally when I play China, but I'm not too sure if it's going to affect any others. Anyway, the Howd, one of my favourite civs at the moment. The Discovery Travois constructing docks now takes 20 seconds longer. Wow, that is big. That is huge. Wow, that is absolutely insane. And I think this is to combat that early dock opening that you can do. And also that's going to affect if you want to do a water boom with the Howd as well. This is just specifically for the Howds. This is going to be a big nerf for the Howd, the Discovery Travail, the Musket Rider as well. Now their ranged armor is decreased by 5%. That's going to be another dig at the Age 3 capability there for the Howd. And finally, this is quite a good one. I like this. Tomahawk cost is reduced by 5 wood, and the train time is reduced by 2 seconds as well. So I don't know. I mean, that's really good. I think this is going to make Age 2 play even more viable for the Howds. It's really strong anyway, Age 2. Obviously, this Travail here is a bit of a downside, but I think a lot of people now will just move to creating a TP. And if there is no TP, then it's just not looking good for Howd. You know, Howd really like that, having the TP on the map. And if there's no TP, it's always going to be unfortunate for them. So I don't know. I think overall that's probably, obviously that's overall that's a nerf. I mean, there is a buff here, but those two are very significant. Moving on to Japanese, the Shrine. Yes, this is what I mentioned in my last video. Yeah, reduction of 200 HP there, which is about a 15%, maybe 13-14% reduction on HP. That's going to be a huge nerf to Japan, because it means that their shrines are going to be challenged a lot more. The Yabusami, now this is one of the deadliest combinations or unit comps out there, is the Yabusami with the Yumi, which is your Skirm and Goon type unit. Now the ranged armor has now been reduced by 0.05, which I think is by 5%, down from 0.5 to 0.45. The artillery multiplier is reduced as well, so they're not going to have as much damage to artillery. And also the cav multiplier is now reduced as well by they've done their percentages weird here. Yeah, it's down by 3.5 to 3.25. Not a huge drop, but I mean quite a significant one here for artillery. And yeah, I mean a 10% reduction here overall on the ranged armor. That's quite impactful as well. The Ataku, I can't even say this, Atakubani or Buni, build limit is reduced by 1. Okay, so it looks like a huge ship there. I'm not actually even sure of that ship, but anyway. So Japan, big nerf there. The XP trickle, I don't know why they put this in red here. I think this is a bonus, and XP trickle increased. That's good. That's a good thing. So that should be green. That is a good thing. So that's going to be very, very good for the mosque. Oh, okay, that's actually separate then, because it said up here, church. I just thought that would be a mosque as well. So the church has been increased. Okay, that's quite good. That's good for all other European civs. And we can see here now, obviously, the mosque for the Ottomans, the XP trickle has now been increased by 0.05. Not a huge increase. I mean, that's something like, I don't know, 6-7%. Top of my head, something like that. Not massive, but that will definitely help them with non-TP maps and also on TP maps in general as well. Oh, the 5 Abusgun has now been increased to 6. Maybe this is because of the recent Ethiopians have 9 Abusguns that you can get, and they're actually a little bit better, and you can get those in Age 3. So yeah, maybe they've upped this a little bit to try and contest that, because 5 is a little low, so that's increased 6. So a buff overall to the Ottomans, not huge, but a buff. Portuguese starting resources adjusted down by 50 food. It's another hit to the ports. So their age up's now going to be a lot slower getting into Age 2. Their water game is not going to be as much. Their CM is not going to be as powerful as well now. So huge nerfs all round for the Portuguese, unfortunately. The Russians, let's have a look at the Russians, because there were some changes to that as well. Yeah, the starting resource has now been adjusted down by 100 food. So I don't really understand this change. I think this is kind of crazy. Because the Russians really rely on getting up early so that they can pressurize early in Age 2, they can get a forward base out. That's the majority. That's kind of like the standard play for Russia. That's one of the real only ways to play them. Of course, you've got other ways with semi-FFing and booming and stuff like that, but normally the kind of play is to get that forward base out, and this is really going to delay that. So crazy change here. Units and buildings. So the villager batch, obviously the cost has been increased by 10 food. The train, this is, okay, I didn't know about this one. So the train time has now been improved by 2 seconds. 2 seconds, I mean, yeah, I mean, that could have an impact. I mean, that's about, a 5%, just under that, maybe 4% reduction. The food here is like a 3 or 4% reduction as well. So I don't know. Maybe over time, as the game goes on, it will benefit them more with this change. But I mean, the Russians kind of, it's always good for the Russians either to win at the start or to really play through the late game. I think their mid game is a little bit iffy. I think late game Russia is pretty good, and obviously age 2 Russia at the start can be quite powerful as well. So the blockhouse reverted the supported population back by 5. Ouch. Once again, this is going to impact them because they're going to need more wood now to be able to build houses to support their population, because at the start you're pumping out a lot of units, so you always need to have that wood to be able to build your blockhouse, which will give you that population, that 10 pop, and then further houses to help you. So this reduction from 10 to 5 is going to mean we're going to have to build more houses, we're going to have to spend more wood. Could change quite a few things there, so that is another nerf. A Russian logistician politician from age 1 to 2 continues to increase the population supported to 15. But I mean, how many people are going to use the Logi though? I think a lot of people will go with, I can't remember what the politician is. It's definitely not that one. There's a standard one. I think it's the one for 400 wood. The quartermaster, a lot of people tend to go for. So the logistician, maybe we might see some logistician plays. Who the hell knows? The frontier blockhouse and fortified blockhouse now also increases the population that blockhouses can support by +5. Note, the US-Russian immigrants card now delivers frontier blockhouse wagons. Right, okay. That's the US immigrant one. That's the one where you get 2 blockhouses. So it's actually going to give you frontier ones, which will actually give you extra population for the states. There's a tiny little buff there for the states if they use that card. And also, I guess I see what they're doing. They're reverting the blockhouse thing here, but if you go for the card here, that will increase them back up to maintain that population. So very interesting. I still think overall though, I still think it's a bit of a nerf for Russia personally, especially with this starting resource there. That's a big one. Spanish, the logistician. Here we go, guys. Everyone's been moaning about it for weeks, maybe even months now. Let's have a look and see what this does. So, reduces the age 1 shipment arrival time by 10. So that's a buff. However, the additional resources granted has been decreased by 50 food and 25 gold. So that is going to have a big impact on their tempo and how much resources they have, and how long they can keep going, especially if they want to play age 2, because I've seen a lot of double racks Musk sort of push by the Spanish, and I feel like with that slight reduction there, overall it's going to have it could have quite a big impact to the Spanish there. Fixed an issue where Spanish teammates who aged up with the logistician would receive additional resources from team cards sent by other Spanish players on their team. Okay, that's good. And finally, the Spanish Gold card. Crates of Spanish Gold now contain 360 coin. I think I mentioned this before. Down from 400. Interactions with the logistician adjusted accordingly. Wow. Okay, well there you go, guys. Another nerf to the Spanish Gold card. So overall, I've got to say, Spanish, I've got a nerf. I don't know. I think it's probably enough for now. But obviously, we'll see how much that impacts for the Spanish players. Moving on to the good old Swedes. Obviously, very popular Civ. And I'm hoping, I haven't looked yet, but I'm hoping, fingers crossed, they're going to deal with the Svigard issue, which is absolutely insane in Age 4. So let's have a look. Top hit points reduced by 200. Wow. Big hit there. Just like with the shrines as well, the Japanese shrines have been reduced. Now the torps have been reduced, and they have been reduced by a whopping 15% there, I think it is. Yeah, 15, maybe not. No, not 15, maybe about 13. I can't really do maths. But anyway, that is a lot. So once again, it's going to mean that the Swedes are going to have to try and contest Age 2 quite a bit here, because if they try and do that and you've got an aggressive player that will go out and take those torps down, it's going to be a lot quicker for them. And yeah, big nerf there. The berry gather rate has now been reduced as well. 45%. The speed of a villager gathering a berry bush is down from 50%. Wow, okay, so a lot going on here. So the berry gather rate has gone down by, let's have a look, so 0.335. Yeah, so basically a 10%. Pretty much, just under, but a 10%, let's say, reduction on the berry gather rate. And also I can see here the blueberry gather rate has got even more, about a 12 or 13% reduction for when the blueberries come in. Now increased torp hit points by 10% down from, wait, what does? It's not saying here. It's just saying now increases torp hit points. What does? Is that card increases torp hit points by 10% down from 30. That's absolutely massive. What is that? It must be referencing a card there. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comments below. It doesn't say. It just says now increases Torp hit points. What does? Is it the Berry Gather Rate? Wow, that's absolutely massive. That's a huge nerf. Jesus. And the Blueberry Gather Rate, obviously I just mentioned that. The Mine Gather Rate now as well. That is a 10%. The Engelberg Ironworks Area Gather Aura adjusted accordingly. 45% the speed of a villager gathering a mine, down from 50%. Wow. So yeah, so obviously the gather rates are being reduced there. Can now be constructed on ice terrain. Interesting. Okay, don't know what impact that's going to have, but that's very interesting. Hunting attack is no longer a default feature. Whoa, what does that mean? Hunting attack is no longer a default feature. Are you kidding me? What, the Torps can't... Oh, the Torps can't shoot? Is that what that means? Because that is huge. So you have to rely on a villager to shoot the animal for you so that the Torp can gather it. Is that what he's saying? Hunting attack is no longer a default feature. Wow. Okay, that's crazy. Upon reaching the Imperial Age, all Torp construction and placement restrictions are removed. Okay, interesting. Corollian, here we go. Oh no. The melee armor has decreased by 10%. Damn, that is absolutely massive. That is a third of a reduction. That's like a 30%, 33% reduction overall from 30 to 20. That is going to have a big impact. And that also means, like, for example, if you've got like Yurumi and anything that's like a good melee sort of skirm unit, if that makes sense, like a unit that excels well against heavy infantry in melee, that's going to be even a bigger hit to Corollians. And also, like, Cav might have a little bit of a chance now against Corollians. Obviously, you shouldn't really put Cav to Corollians, but it means that they have a bit more of an effect. Melee damage is increased, though, by 1. Okay, all right, so fair enough. But I still think overall the Corollians have got a bit of a hit there. The Hacker Pellet. So the Hacker Pellet, we rarely see this unit. So there's a little bit of a buff here. So maybe we might see these units coming in. They are like a Dragoon unit. We rarely see them. Cost is reduced by 10 coin here. So, I mean, that's not even a 10% reduction. But I don't know. Bounties adjusted accordingly, obviously. I'm not too sure if that's going to be enough for people to pick this unit, to be honest. But anyway, looking at the cards, Dominions moved back to the Commerce Age. Wow. Okay, so that's when you get the 4 Torps, the 4 free Torps that come out. So I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to offset the big nerf to the Torps by allowing you to play in Age 2 more and go for the Dominions. So what this, I think, might do is it might mean... Oh, hang on, let's have a look at this. Sorry, one second. Now enables the new economic home city spawn point at the Torp. Note, military units cannot be delivered to Torps. Oh, that's interesting. So the Dominions, when you do it, it means that any Torp can receive economic stuff like crates and stuff like that. That's quite interesting. I don't know how much of an impact that's going to have to gameplay, but it does say that military units cannot be delivered. Fair enough. Now increases Torp hit points by 10%, down from 30. Oh, that's absolutely awful. So the Dominions, I see what they're saying, so that they're making it more viable in Age 2. This sort of means that I guess the Swedes are going to be playing a lot more in Age 2 rather than trying to get to that Age 4 Svi Lifeguard, which they like to do. So I think that with that Dominions, I think it's going to force a lot of Swedes to probably get this card because Torps have been nerfed to absolute like Kingdom Come. So you're going to have to get this Dominions to help you out. Otherwise, I don't know. Yeah, it's just not... Because that's going to give you some hit points to your... I mean, Dominions is going to definitely be back, I think. Svi Lifeguard, here we go. This is one of the most ridiculous upgrades to the Corollians. Let's have a look. Now increases Corollian hit points by 15%, down from 25. Grenadiers remain 25%. Okay. However, it doesn't say anything about the range resist. I think Svi definitely gave range resist as well. So it looks like they're just dealing with the hit points, which is that's actually very significant though. From 25 to 15. I mean, you're talking about, I can't do maths, but 30, 40%. It's got to be, right? Yeah, 2.5. Yeah, 40%. That's a 40% reduction from 25 to 15. So that is very significant. So hopefully we won't see so much of the... I mean, Svi I think will still be involved in decks, but it won't be as much. This one's crazy as well. Obviously the Mamelukes, where you could keep spamming them, that is no longer infinite. So that's once again a huge impact to the Age 4. So once again, I feel like the Swedes are not going to be racing to Age 4 as much as they were. 2 leather cannons now cost 150 food to send. That could be a bit of an impact to the macro. Not too sure how much though. And the Infinite 7 Skirmisher card now delivers 8. Okay. So I don't know whether we would see this sort of card being used that much, but you never know. We might start seeing it in the decks. Moving on to the States, and finally the States, sorry. The Civ, we plan to make a number of changes to various United States cards and units in a future update. That's nice to hear. Okay, yeah, because the States need a little bit of love, you know. They were the last DLC, got to give them some love. And obviously we now have all of these new maps, which is absolutely amazing. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I think the maps is one of the best things about this DLC. Of course, the 2 Civs are great, absolutely awesome, but I think the second thing to this DLC are the maps, and that's going to really switch it up. I don't know if they're going to change the map pool. Are they going to change the map pool for ranked? That'd be interesting. Map balance, water treasures out of the second tier of water treasures, nice. And there's other... I'm not going to actually go through all of these map balances here. I'm going to obviously just hover over them so you can have a look. Oh, that's good. Yeah, Korea. People were moaning about in team games about Korea there. Not enough mines were spawning, so they've dealt with that now, which is awesome. Manchuria is looking better than ever with a new map-specific terrain mix and water type. Nice, corrected an issue. I mean, there's tons here. I mean, this is really awesome. Absolutely awesome. Updated the map to include Asian, New African style maps. Siberia. I'm not going to go through all of it. Anyway, moving on. Lobbies and matchmaking. Here we go. General potential fix of being stuck waiting for other players in a ranked game lobby. That's very, very good because, yeah, that used to happen quite a few times. Fix for failing to join a lobby from the invite to a multiplayer scenario or restored save game. Save games no longer require resigned or defeated players for the game to continue. That's very, very good. Fixed a host rejected issue when joining a restored multiplayer save game if a player's previous slot was already allocated. I think that's happened before to me. Fixed occasional camera glitch when spectating with camera lock. Yeah, I remember that. That's a very slight fix, but that's really nice though because that got a bit annoying. Fixed an issue where unique resources such as export and influence were incorrectly set to 0 in deathmatch games. Okay. Moving on to modding. Random name mods can now be used in multiplayer games against other players who don't have the mod. Okay. Ongoing investigation. Here we go. As always, we are continuing to track issues reported by the community. Obscure unit alpha. We are aware our fix for this patch still did not address this for some users with older graphics cards. The team is still investigating the issue to see if we can readily display if those who are affected. Stability and disconnects. We continue to investigate the crashes. We've heard a request for a reconnect feature, and the team is looking into this option. Nice. That's really good. We do not have a timeline for it though. Okay. Match type. Oh, hang on. In terms of disconnect, please also report these. Okay. Community reported issues. Also, we noted in patch key reports. Okay, that's pretty much it. Public update preview program. We saw a much larger engagement with our PvP builds for this patch, and we are grateful for everyone who participated. We were able to address many issues raised by our users, including items related to the New Africans DLC. Absolutely awesome. So there we go, guys. I've got to say, I'm hoping that the attack move has been sorted. I love the fact that obviously we've got all the new civs and new maps. That's amazing. Civ changes, kind of crazy, as you know. Huge nerfs coming in for the Portuguese, potentially for Russia, for the Howd, for Sweden. So for those big sort of civs, Spain, Portuguese, Sweden that you see at the top, they're going to be brought down a peg or two. So we'll see what the hell happens with everything. And of course, we're probably going to see some patches to the 2 new civs in the next week or so, because I'm sure there's going to be some areas where people will be able to abuse the new civs. And we'll probably find out that they're very, very OP, just like anything. But guys, I hope you really enjoyed this roundup. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this, what you think is, pretty decent, and what you think is not good at all. And let me know in the comments below. And of course, drop a like if you really enjoyed this video. And if you find any other videos on my channel entertaining, please feel free to show your support. And of course, you can catch me streaming on Twitch at Widgie1. Take care, guys. Bye.